3, 2. Hello, hello, my fellow sensitive people. It is I, Whimsy, your favorite Whimsy. Of all the tarot readers you know named Whimsy, I will forever be your very own favorite. So welcome, everybody. I am taping an interview with a very close friend of mine, Marcia Martin. So everybody, welcome, Marcia Martin. Marcia Martin has a master's degree in both educational and developmental psychology from Boston College. She's a counselor. She works here in Los Angeles. She also does phone readings and therapy via phone and teaching. She uses remote. She's a remote viewer using the heart-centered technique. And we're going to be talking about how she uses it as a therapist. She's a teacher and a counselor, and how she's been able to use remote viewing as a psychological tool to help people who are stuck. And I can say, as somebody who went through a divorce, and actually Marsha was my therapist during that period. Thank you for helping me get through that, by the way.
You are most welcome.
Okay, so my first question to you was, can you describe your technique as a remote viewer and as a therapist?
One of the things that I love most about being able to do this work is I was educated in the brain. Everything for me was the brain. It was always about the brain. It was the mind controlled the world. And when I recognized how much more power there was in the heart as opposed to the mind, and the fact that the heart controlled the subconscious, it opened up a whole new vista for me, so that I was able to realize, hey, when I'm going into the subconscious, my own, someone else's, or just viewing the world in general, I'm able to get a real picture of what's going on, not the picture that you want to portray to the world, or the one that you're believing that you are, the one that you really are, that program that's running off of your heart experiences that has then influenced your whole life. So people come to me that have experienced pain and trauma, heartbreak, limiting beliefs, and they honestly believe that they're small or unworthy or have no value because that's what they were taught, and it was shared with them over and over and over again, or the traumatic event or the abuse or whatever it may be happened again and again and again, so that they've lost touch with who they really are. And this work is all about reintroducing them to that beautiful self they really are, and making it safe for them to come out of that darkness and into the light and share their beautiful brilliance with the world. So using that ability to contact the subconscious, I can show you who you are when you may not be aware of it, or maybe believing the lies that you've been told.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting that you would say that, because I got a lot of negative feedback. I do remote viewing at it's more investigative how I do it. People want me to go in and check, I do the heart-centered meditation, the Kuan Yin meditation, to connect my heart to another person's heart. And people got mad at me because I said my favorite person to remote view was Lindsey Graham, because when I connected with his heart, I thought he had a really nice heart. But his politics...
He does. Now, see, that's a perfect example of someone who is at their center, not living who they really are. So we examine the person that they believe they are, and we may not agree with that. But when you go into his beingness, there's a gentle kindness there.
I know. Yes, I really enjoy remote viewing him. So one of the things that I talked to people about the last couple of days is how I and a lot of remote viewers have gotten kind of sad because the impeachment is going to be happening now It looks like it's going to be happening, and that they now have the majority in the House, and it looks like the tide is shifting in the Senate. A lot of people had predicted that he would probably resign. Well, I did. I predicted that he would resign before impeachment in the Senate. So instead of like, woohoo, I got it right, instead everybody got depressed, including me. I was like crying. I'm like, ah. And it was because I felt like, well, does this mean that we don't have any free choice? So I thought, I need to talk to my friend Marcia, because I'm not doing too good here. Like, how were people able to see what was going to happen 2 years ago? Does that mean we should just throw it in the towel and it's all, there's no free will? I mean, it's depressing.
Well, it depends on the way that you're looking at it. If you look at it as though, well, the train has left the station and there's never any turning it around, then we have no free will. This has all been decided long before we got here, and we might as well just give up. But that's not really the way free will operates, and that's why it's such a fascinating for the little brain, the brainiac that loves to study the brain and behavior hasn't left me completely. Even though I live in the heart and work in the heart, I love the little machinations that go on. So free will is one of the most fascinating topics in the world, because we have this propulsion, this impulse to go forward. And we have the majority of our energy that may be going in a direction that, looking at it now, we may say, that's really negative. That is really going to cause a lot of difficulty. And we see that it just keeps going and keeps going and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it gets more momentum. And then it makes us believe, well, we can't do anything. We can't fix it. We might as well just be satisfied with the fact that this is the way it is. But what we forget is, anywhere along the way, we have the opportunity to wake up and say, hey, what was I thinking?
Right.
I don't like the fact that even though this has gained a lot of momentum, I don't like the direction that this is going. This doesn't feel good to my heart. I may see that it's sound, but it feels like prejudice, anger, hatred. This goes against who I am as a human being.
It goes against who we are spiritually, or what she calls the natural order. That anytime we do anything that goes outside the natural order, we will not succeed. Can you talk a little bit about that?
We absolutely will not succeed, but we will have, you may have a small period of success, because there's a certain amount of momentum that goes along with any energetic vibration. So just the force of the momentum may allow you to go forward in this particular direction for a period of time. But at some point, you're going to run up against the natural consequences of those actions. And the spiritual world is all about balance and order. So if you're way over here in love, and yet you have attached a almost foolish component to your love, so that you refuse to see, hey, person over here is telling lies, and I know they're lies, but I'm just going to pretend they're not lies and it'll all work out. That's not being spiritually wise. That's being spiritually foolish. Stay in your loving place. Understand this person is choosing at this time not to be truthful and honest in their dealings. It can be business or personal, it doesn't matter. You don't need to do anything to person over here. You merely need to be loving and kind to yourself and say to yourself, it doesn't feel good to me, it doesn't feel loving to me to deal with this person because they're not telling the truth. So I'm going to love myself so much that I find people that are in line with my vibrational offering and let this person stay here. I'm not going to try to pull them up where I am. And so that's where free will can get confused, because we could be spending time trying to pull this person to be with us when they don't want to. Their free will is saying, I'm happy being a liar and a cheat, and hasn't caught up with me yet, and I don't know if it ever will. It will. I don't know when. But your job is not necessarily to go in the dark and try to drag them out. Your job is to be delighted by this joy that you found in this place and use your free will to make choices that support you in staying in that place. So in the political arena, they chose not to change. They've had warning after warning after warning, investigations, and at any time they could have said, we are sharing hate. We are hurting other people. We are capitalizing on their pain. And that doesn't feel good to my heart. They chose not to do that. And as sad as that is, we have to allow them to experience the consequence of that choice, because none of the outpouring of love has been successful at helping them make a better choice. So perhaps now,
that's a good point.
The only thing that will is, I need to experience the consequences of my actions so I can make the choice not to do that anymore. And we were talking earlier, one of the things that was probably the most fundamental in my move forward was for my life to just be disintegrate, to have to start all over again with more wisdom, better insight, making better choices, being more accountable. All of the consequences came home to roost because I was the spiritually foolish one. Oh, I'm just going to stay over here and be loving. And I just know these things, these lies and underhanded dealings are not, that's that other person.
You have to be part of the change. I think that's what you're saying. It's not enough to just, love, 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 and put your head in the sand. You have to be part of the change.
Be who you say you're going to be, and if somebody chooses not to be that way, you don't have to go over disciplining them. That's not our job.
And you shouldn't have to compromise your ethics.
Right, but you do need to say, okay, you want to be here? That's fine. I really am much more comfortable over here. Let me stay in my high place of love, joy, and peace. You can join me anytime you want, but I really can't go down in the dirt, or I'm going to get dirty. And if we are so surprised when we've been putting all of our effort into making up for the person that's lost in the darkness, we should not be surprised. Oh, look, I'm full of mud. I laid down in the mud with them, and now I'm covered. What happened? I'm covered in mud. I don't know why we get so surprised. See the highest good for all, always. Hold them in their heart, in your heart. See their highest good, but allow them to make the choices that they are choosing to make at this time, and be okay with the fact that their choice may not be your choice. I would love everyone to always choose love, joy, and peace, for it just to be a world where we are cooperative and we work together and it's harmony. But at the same time, would I have learned what I learned if I didn't have to interact with people that were not so loving and joyful and peaceful? They made me grow up. They made me become more accountable, more responsible, more resilient, get more spiritual strength. So I'm grateful for everyone. I'm grateful to those people who are still confused. It is my deepest desire that they will have an opportunity to experience what it's like to live from a place of love. But I've let go of needing to be the one that forcing, needing to change them or rescue them, or I'm just learning to let people be where they are.
Well, I think as a counselor, when I came to see you, because I went through a divorce, it was very difficult, and Marsha was my counselor. What I felt I needed, because when you go through something like that, you're lost. And what you did for me as a heart she was doing the heart-centered remote viewing, is you kept me, you kept showing me who I was beyond the pain.
And that
It's like I was so in pain during that whole process that I literally, you as the remote viewer, who's the therapist using the the heart remote technique, you were reflecting back, no, Whimsy, this is who you are, this is your authentic self. And it helped me also see just how powerful this is as a tool to help people in recovery, because we don't always see our highest self. We don't see our Buddha nature. We don't see the best that we can see. Like when I connected with people who vote differently than me, like Lindsey Graham, when I connect to his higher self, his pure heart beyond all of the crazy, you see the highest, the truest of somebody. It's people have a beautiful heart, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the personality or the politician is going to necessarily be a nice person. So do you feel that your job is to reflect back for another person who they really are? Because that's what it felt like for me.
Absolutely. That is the gift of heart healing, is I can see who you are. Now, the other thing that comes with that is when you're everything's a relationship. So when we're sifting through the confusion of relationships, I can also show you, okay, this person that you're in this relationship with, business, personal, family, whatever it may be, is also this incredible, warm, loving, and caring being. But right now they are choosing to be and demonstrate something else. And you need to understand that it's not your job to save them. It's only your job to save you, and then they can choose to join you and save themselves. And I think that's really a very important component, because as empaths, as deeply sensitive, caring people, it is our first instinct to want to go save everyone, and we can't, but we can save ourselves by having someone reflect to us who we really are, while they show us, okay, you're in a relationship with person A. Person A is right now choosing to have a relationship with drugs. You're not going to be able to convince them that, and it's not your job, that drugs are not their friend. But you can build yourself to such a strong degree. You can make yourself such a beautiful light that they may choose, because they see the change in you, that they may choose that which is for their highest good, or they may not. But when we see ourselves authentically, we're much more able to make choices that are in line with our highest good, instead of feeling like we need to be the 911 service for the world. And that was me. I mean, you have a hangnail, I'm taking over your life. Here I come, I'm going to rescue you. I spent all of my life, rescuing people, believing that somehow I was doing the right thing, and not understanding that I was preventing you from learning what you needed to learn so you could grow. And it's just recently that I have been able to, like 5 years now, that I've been able to, it feels like yesterday, but then I realized, wow, that was really a long time ago. Step back from the edge of that precipice that I was always walking on, and just say, I am secure in who I am, and I'm going to help you become secure in who you are, and then you will help the next person, and that's the way we change the world. So
I had one question I wanted to ask you, and then we'll close. But the question I wanted to ask was, because I know you do a heart-centered meditation where you try to connect with, God through your own heart, right? Is that correct?
absolutely.
Okay, so I was wondering if you could give advice to my viewers and to me, because we're headed, as a nation, we're headed towards something very difficult right now. We're headed towards impeachment hearings. It looks like the president will be impeached, and This is creating a lot of pain in our nation. People are on both sides of this. It really does feel like our nation is being torn apart. It's very painful for me as an empath to see people fighting like this. And to see that we couldn't come together as a nation, and to see that we're probably heading towards a divorce. So, what can you tell us as a nation that's going to help us come together during this difficult time? What tools can we use to come together as a nation? Because this is going to be rough the next couple months.
The most important thing that absolutely every person can do is get into your own heart. When you are fully connected to the divine and loving yourself, you will have no desire to gloat, to say, I told you so, to make fun, or to disparage the character of another person. This is going to be painful no matter whether you're on the right or the left.
That's right.
So if you are willing to come from your heart, allow yourself to just go neutral and
Yes.
share the gift of love with everyone. People have made good choices and bad choices, and let's not even judge which is which. It all ends up coming out in the wash anyway, so there's no reason to finger point. But I think the best way that we can handle this is, I was shown a technique, and I use it absolutely every day, constantly. I'm going to share two things. One thing I've been using for years and years, which is wrap yourself and other people in a blanket of pink and gold light, which is just unconditional love. Just wrap them up and say, no matter what you need, it can be supplied by unconditional love. It will alleviate the pain. It will help you move through. If you've made a bad decision, it will help take the sting away from that bad decision. It will help you move into a place of greater forgiveness for yourself more quickly and forgiveness for others, and you won't want to be holding a grudge or get violent or angry. So unconditional love, wrap yourself and others, anyone you see that's hurting in any way, in a blanket of pink and gold light. It just comes from your heart, and wrap it around them and offer it at least 3 times. Now, free will says they don't have to accept it. The worst that can happen is that it will come back to you, and then you get a little extra love. Please don't return hate for hate. If somebody is shooting hate at you, or writing hate speech, or speaking to you in a way that is not loving, stay in your high place of love, joy, and peace, and return love to them. You will receive whatever you put out. I want you to receive love. So, no matter what they send to you, you send love. Send love just from this heart center of yours, which is pure. Tap into that pure place and send love. Know that we are all in this together.
Yes, we are.
And it cannot get better if we're picking at each other.
That's right.
Now, the other thing they gave me just the other day, and I've been using it consistently because it's so fun, is when you have an idea or a situation or a person or just something that is aggravating you, or something that you want to manifest really, really badly, and you just find yourself obsessing over it. Here's my new thing. The angels taught me this a couple of weeks ago now, actually. You put it on the escalator to heaven. You just say, take this thing. Now, if it's an angry thought or an obsessive thought or a hurtful thought, I like to wrap it up in a beautiful package. So I wrap it up in the most beautiful thing that I can, and I put it on the escalator, and there it goes. Right up there to the energetic realm. I go, angels, it's all yours. I can't deal with this. I can't seem to stop thinking about it. I need help. Here you go. If I want to manifest something and I can feel I'm getting attached to it or worried about it in any way, on the escalator. If somebody comes at me with something that I feel is kind of unloving, I put them on the escalator. Just get it out of your energetic
Just keep your own self.
Yes. Get any of this poop needs to get out of your energetic system as quickly as possible, or it's going to infect you.
It'll destroy you.
Yep, because it is like drinking poison and saying, gee, I hope it doesn't hurt me. Hatred, anger, resentment, jealousy.
It may be, but I think sometimes our emotions, we create these emotions because our soul is trying to tell us something. Like we're not being respected or our boundaries are being crossed. It doesn't make you a bad person if you're feeling anger or resentment. It means your soul is trying to tell you that something's not quite right. So when I feel anger, I have to honor and respect that and go in and say, you know what? I don't think I can be around this person right now. And
Brilliant.
so I think anger serves a function. And I try not to judge my anger. I try to view it as my soul is talking to me and I need to sit down and listen to it, because maybe I'm not respecting myself, and maybe that's what the anger is about. So,
and I think brilliant. Absolutely. When something comes up, you don't shove it under the rug so that it's just going to be a mountain that you're really going to have to deal with in a very negative way. Take a look at it. Gee, I really need to unpack this and find out what's driving the train here. What's causing this to keep coming back? However, once you've examined it, if you still feel
you don't want to become
no
upset.
attachment.
You don't want to keep being bitter and angry like my ex-husband.
Right.
It just goes on and on and on. The function of the anger is just to teach me what the problem is so I can take care of it and then let it go and move on. Not to wallow in anger, because then the anger doesn't serve a function at all. I haven't changed. I've just become angry and bitter.
But it got you moving. So it serves the beautiful purpose of getting us aware of where we are stuck or confused, but it can then turn into the poison if we hold on to it and keep revisiting.
It's no longer medicine, it's poison.
Yeah. So let's be very careful as we move forward, and as a nation, that we are not finger pointing, we are not condemning or I told you soing, but we are moving forward with
moving
love.
Towards this energy that I call the Renaissance, where we're all moving towards this beautiful energy of cooperation and love.
And let's hold the president and all of the people in office right now in a place of just pure unconditional love. Let's lift them up.
Yes, I agree.
To receive, just they have the choice whether to receive it or not. Our
job is to just express our Buddha nature.
Yes, surround them with love, because tomorrow they can wake up and say, "What was I thinking? I've got to bring this nation together."
There's always a chance for free will, for choice.
Absolutely, there's always the chance to get it right.
Amen. Well, thank you for talking with me. If you'd like to find out more about Marcia Martin's work as a counselor who uses the heart-centered technique, absolutely, I'll put her information below. If you do want to get counseling sessions with Marcia, she does counsel through, is it Skype or through phone?
Just through the phone.
Through the phone. She has patients all over the world. And will you come back again? Because I would like to interview you again about some of the stuff that's going to be coming up in the future. I wanted your opinion.
Absolutely.
All right. So thank you, Marcia. I know everyone loved watching Marcia. Like I said, she's a dear friend. She was my therapist. I have definitely gone into therapy with you many times. And
because we're here for each other.
We're here, and it was
that's the thing.
And it was great that my therapist also does the heart-centered remote. So it was nice. It was nice to be able to find someone who understood me and understood this world that I live in.
Amen to that.
All right. Thank you, honey. What were you going to say? Because what?
Oh, it's so difficult to try to have a conversation with somebody that's only here.
Yeah, surface.
I'm like, well, wait a minute, but we've got this whole conversation that's trying to happen down here, and I'm trying to
Right.
I'm trying to wiggle you there.
That's true.
And it doesn't always happen.
She does a great, she did a very good job of leading me back home, I think. So, you know, sometimes you got to go back though, and you have to get like a refresher course, I suppose.
Every once in a while, we all need a tune-up.
Sometimes I call and say, could you remote view? I'm having another problem, but yeah. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure and subscribe and like this channel, and be sure and subscribe and like Marsha's channel, and that information is below this video. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Thank you
Peace
so
out.
much.